One. Hey everyone.
Hello.
I have been so looking forward to talking about this particular week with y'all.
Uh, I knew that you would be, and I really am here to take for you to take the lead.
I'm like laughing at my laugh because it sounds like evil laugh, and I'm just like, why am I laughing? Like,
Because you know it's about to be. This week was absurd. And so therefore you know.
no, just kidding. I can't stop it now. Okay.
Well, how was y'all week? Um
Like tears are coming out of my eyes and my makeup is being ruined.
I have no makeup.
How was my week? It was a lot. There you go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I am back to listening to Renaissance as if it's a brand new album.
Yep.
Good.
So
Here's
Love
something.
that.
I had to work yesterday and I was so tired and I didn't sleep the night before very much. I only slept like 4 hours. So when I came home, I was so exhausted. I had plans in my head of eating dinner and watching TV, and all I did was lay down on my couch. There was Bad Boys for Life was on. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this and fall asleep and take a nap. Why did I not wake up until midnight? and then and then I was like, okay, let me sit up. I should probably get a little something to eat. And I sat up and thought about it for 30 minutes, and then I laid back down on my couch and then did not wake up again until 2. And then I was like, well, too late to eat now. Let me go to bed. I went to bed, did not wake up again until 7.
not you eating thoughts.
Right? I was just thinking about it. I was like, maybe I should eat. Just go to bed. So I
I get
had
it.
a restful night because I was so exhausted from the week.
I'm so sorry. Well, I hope this helps you unwind a little bit because nobody deserves to be hyped up from a week like that.
The most exciting thing I did last night was I took the hottest bath of all time
Ooh, nice.
and stayed in too long. I was like, am I having a vision? No, I'm dehydrated and overheated.
The hot flashes, heat stroke in the
Yes,
middle of a bath.
yes, yes.
Sometimes I can help you get a vision.
It sure did. It was a vision of me dying in the bathtub.
You know what else I did this week? Finished Spare.
Oh,
You have it and you read it and you finished it?
So my book is in Oakland.
Oh,
Um,
oh
like
shit.
my
Well, I
physical
should open
copy.
the
Yeah, you
package.
can open it. Yeah, it should be an Amazon package because I pre-ordered. Feel free. But I did it on Audible. So I've been just like doing everything else
Do
while
you recommend on Audible? Because I have a credit.
I loved it on Audible.
Okay.
I
but
was
you
like
loved
walking
it,
with Prince
period.
Harry. Huh?
Oh, he was talking. He was the one that's
He was
talking.
the one. And I also love like the kind of soap folks that we know online who have watched it or like watched it, read it. Um, so like I've just been like chatting with like Tara from Port Misery about it. We've been cracking up. We're like, William,
So you don't recommend us waiting. We should read it right away.
read it right away. I enjoyed it. He like beat like Guinness World Records. It's not like Harry, and I appreciate him even saying this, like he's not an anti-monarchist, but everything he says lays out the case for anti-monarchy. So he's like, I love my dad, I love my brother, but here's why they're awful.
Yeah.
Camilla turned my room into like a studio. Like it was just like she's like legit his evil stepmom. It's very good.
Even though he says it's not like she's my evil stepmom, but here's all the reasons why she's my evil stepmom.
Yes.
And I love that kind of shade. I really do.
Very British.
Mhm.
Yeah. He also like what I enjoy is like there are parts where he like tries to do an American accent, like it's a wild ride.
I'm here for it. I love it. Story time, Prince Harry.
You know what else was a wild ride? GH this week.
Wild.
Like that. See, I'm good with these segues. I'm getting better. It's clear we've been doing this for so
What a
long.
transition.
I have an Am I the Asshole this week.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So I stumbled across some confidential medical papers and left them sitting out on in my home for my bestie and my boyfriend to see.
Mhm.
While I was making cider for my man, you know, like I do, he went through the papers and saw that a girl we know has cancer. We decided to dig deeper into her medical business by piecing together the timeline of her diagnosis and making assumptions about her treatment. Now, yes, she is pregnant and she does hate me, but because she is adopted mother of my grandchild that she won't let me see, I think it's my place to know what's going on with her and her immediate family. Now, am I the asshole for going to this young woman's house and demanding answers about her healthcare decisions?
And not only demanding answers, blaming the husband for them.
And I actually hate this story. I hate like where we are in the world and where we are in this point in history and them telling this story this way. And I was like, she has the right to make whatever. I was like, bad.
Oh, it was, yeah, she is the asshole. Yes. Double yes. Triple yes. C.
Santa.
She's the triple asshole. What else is there to say?
Oh, the triple asshole.
So,
Is that our title this week? Triple asshole.
Is that gonna
well,
get us kicked off iTunes?
Oh, I don't know.
you know, um, so this week was mostly Persona Ruillo, which is Carson, Sona, and Milo, as well as Prue. Like that's just like configuration of people. But other things that happened are that Esme continues to have amnesia, quotes. Martin says he needs to figure out where she's been to have an alibi. She is questioned by Dante and Jordan, visited by Spencer, and tries to get advice from Liz. Nina and Alexis learn about the ick baby. Oof, Alexis learning. What a treat. Victor finds out that Nicholas has been keeping Esme at Windermere and covers for Nicholas with the police as future leverage. These are Cassadines after all. Nicholas wants to take full custody of the baby, and Alexis refuses to help him. Pete Cassadine shit. She does that. She does let that little tidbit about custody slip when she talks to Spencer, and the two of them make a possible connection back to Esme's nanny Maggie. Maybe we'll see Sam. Who knows? Everyone is missing Brent. Terry is sat at the hospital, and we get round two of Jeff Sex Grief Edition. It's looking more and more like Gladys is spending up all of Sasha's money, and Sasha and Chase are bonding. So our Chase would be OQ, and unfortunately, Tanya's favorite, Cody, is in the mix. Trina said, "That's my man, and I'm gonna stick beside him," about Spencer, much to Portia's dismay. And Cam confides in Liz about the breakup with Joss. As for Carsona Ruillo, Sunny and Nina obviously find Willow's medical records and do a deep dive. Sunny calls Brick, who apparently works from home, and Nina makes a beeline to the queues to confront Michael and Willow. Willow collapses while cursing Nina out, which I obviously respect. Girl, use your dying breath to do it. Um, Soda continues to tell the town about Willow's diagnosis. Sunny tells Michael, they tell Shalyn, they tell everybody but Dante, apparently.
Huh?
Um, Drew finds out that Carly is who we know her to be, and she has been sabotaging his efforts of finding Willow's birth parents. She admits that it is Nina after Drew tells her about Willow's leukemia. We end the week with Carly fessing up to Nina that she is Willow's birth mother, Nina calling her a selfish bitch, and then going to dying ass Willow's room and closing the door. Ah, tell us, Sandra, what were some of your favorite moments, favorite moment of the week?
Oh, this was hard because I thought the week was pretty awful. I don't care about the storyline, and it's not like a neutral, like I could take it or leave it. I hate all of it, and there's nothing I like about it. So obviously I didn't pick anything from that. Although there were, like Carly had her moments of just like, okay, sure. This is a mess. Stand in it. You know what, Carly, stand in it. So I did appreciate that. And Laura Wright killed it. But I would say, if I'm gonna be really honest, favorite moment had to be Alexis finding out about the ick baby.
It was so good.
Her face was priceless.
It's the correct energy the most, honestly. I mean, I loved all the reactions prior to that. They were also excellent, but this is what I needed from like a Cassadine family member and from Alexis in particular. And I also just appreciated that she keeps the through line of what her dynamic is with Nicholas consistent, regardless of who's playing Nicholas.
Right.
So I'll
Yeah.
offer that. And that was my favorite moment of the week.
I enjoyed, obviously that is top tier, Alexis's face, the reaction. I enjoy just overall how hard Trina has checked Curtis that all he can do is be Portia's back up. Like he's like Trina's very Trina loves boundaries. Trina, all me and your mother want. Trina, are you upset at me? Please, Trina, do not be mad at me. I remember the last time you was mad at me. I don't want to be checked again. Like Trina has so thoroughly checked Curtis that all he can do is be like, I don't know, whatever you say.
Take it a step further. He is so cowed by Trina that when Portia is like, I need to do something about this, he's like, well, you got to remember she has boundaries.
You gotta remember the boundaries.
like like don't go too far with her because she's gonna get mad. She's probably gonna get mad at me because he is so scared.
I love it.
That was hilarious.
It reminds me of like, I'll be saying something to my mom, like da 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 boundaries, and she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know about those from your brother." Boundaries. Like every like millennial and Gen Zers parents nightmare word, the B word, boundaries. Like, oh God.
But Portia has that old school energy of fuck a boundary. I'm the mama.
Right.
This is what's gonna happen.
Curtis is like, but let's not forget, uh Portia's like, I am the boundary, okay?
Right.
But I just like the fact that Trina has checked him so thoroughly and it just pays off is like, I love that. And then yeah, that's fine. That might be. Oh, and Joss's face when Diane showed up. It
She
was
was
like,
like,
I kind of pushed back so much about people calling Joss mini Carly, but I just had to lean into it. It was like giving that scene, that gif of Carly like in the courtroom where she like looks like, like that's how that's how Joss's face was when Diane walked in.
it
And
reminded
I loved that.
it reminded me of that meme of the little girl in front of the fire. And she has
Yes.
a little look on her face like
Yes, it was very memeable.
Yeah.
And I also appreciated when like Dante was kind of like like I'm gonna ask I'm like scared to ask Joss the question, and Joss just goes, is there a question in there? Or
Yeah. She learned from Jason and Carly for sure.
I was like, Uncle Jason, calm down. But shout out to again our friend Port Misery with the Jason Morgan Memorial Interrogation Room.
You know, the best of him lives on, and the best of him is ACAB.
Bam.
Yeah.
Tanya, tell
Uh,
us.
my favorite moment, and I agree with you both on the previous moments, Alexis's face, even though I still hate her and her actor. I loved it. I also love the fact that Curtis is cowed by Trina. But my favorite moment then after all of that would be, of course, the Star Wars shout out with Wiley naming little sister Ahsoka, who is also my favorite Jedi. So I was like, ah!
I definitely did the Leo pointing to the screen, thinking about you when Wiley said that.
Yes, I was like, oh, I think now they're trying to make Wiley my favorite. This is how you do it. Make him a nerd, make him a Star Wars nerd, and that's what it was. However, he was not my favorite performance. Now this is gonna be controversial.
Poor Wiley.
I appreciate it, but no, it wasn't enough. I do appreciate it. And we're gonna have a conversation. This is gonna be controversial. Not really, I don't think, because I think we all agree on the story and the person, but so as I've told y'all before, I give fave performance to people that elicit a response out of me. And Cynthia Watros did that this week. Not in a, oh my God, I love her, or oh my God, this is so sad, I'm gonna cry. This is a, oh my God, you bitch. I kept saying it over and over and over again. And it made me mad. She pissed me off so much. And I had to give it to her because a lot of people say, the actors always say, Cynthia Watros is the nicest person and she's, nice and all this other stuff. So I'm like, oh, so she must have been pulling off some real stuff because I hate her and her character like no tomorrow. So big up to Cynthia for being the person that I hate. And it's not a love to hate either. It's like a serious hate. I hate your character, Cynthia, and you are doing great portraying her. So good job. I also want. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say, it's so interesting because like the actresses, I think that like that is something that's really great about the actresses at GH is like the way they support each other. So her and Laura Wright were like shouting at each other on Twitter and like talking about each other on Instagram and like really actually appreciating each other as a scene partners or as scene partners. So I think that you're right, like, in a real way to be able to elicit that kind of response. Because I was like, girl, what is this?
Right.
And then to like be able to like look at it back and say, we about to go celebrate, we about to go out to dinner and celebrate what we just did because the people about to be talking about it. And they're not wrong. Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah. So she pulled it off. And I also have to give it to, Kate, the actress that plays Tree, Willow.
Katie
McMullen. Great job this week. Weak, yet strongly hating Nina enough to wake up out of her dreams hating and then come downstairs and use every last bit of her strength to be like, keep away from my child. And then waking up from whatever coma she had again to be like, don't say her name. Get out of my room. I hate you. I'm just like, damn. So yeah, big up to that, Kate. And then of course, yeah, Laura Wright was amazing too. Just being Carly, Laura carling it up 100%. So yeah.
Yeah.
It was Laura for me.
Yeah.
I have to say. To me, she was like the standout out of everyone in that storyline. And I just feel like, there's a lot of mixed feelings about Carly. That's an understatement. And there's a lot of feelings about how much she's on screen. And there's also, there's like Laura can churn it out Right. Like Laura can memorize like no one else. It's part of the reason why she has so much screen time. But the thing about Laura too is that she's gonna do a lot and she's still gonna deliver the performance. And I thought she had to do so many really challenging things and play so many different levels as the one who's been holding the secret. So like of course like Cynthia did a great job of like playing like the disbelief and the shock and the rage. But I just really found myself the most captivated by Laura because of all the different levels that she was playing and still like having to I just love it when Carly has to reckon with her mess. There's nothing like it. And her trying to stand in it while talking to Drew just made me love it even more. She was like, I did what I did. Okay.
He was like,
know.
would you ever have told me? She's like, no.
No, I was not planning on telling. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Laura did really great all week. I don't actually think Cynthia's strongest performance was when when Carly revealed the truth. For me, I most hate her when she was confronting Michael about the secret. And when she gave that, Wiley is my reason. I was like, I was like, oh,
It
hell
was the
no.
audacity.
The audacity.
It is hard to bridge that gap of like, I just can't imagine receiving that script and being like, how the fuck am I gonna do this? How the fuck am I gonna make sense of this? Because this doesn't make any sense. And you know what? She bridged it. She was like, this is Nina, I'm standing in it. Yeah. I also thought Eden was amazing this week.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, Oscar. I don't like him, but way to bust it out and remind us. And I also really loved Cassandra James. I thought she did such a great job of playing the grief and overwhelm at the same time, and just like the shock of like, my friend is dead and now I'm also having to do her job on top of mine, and also go and deliver this horrible news to this couple that's expecting a baby.
Oh, yeah.
So she wasn't like a front burner character this week, but I thought when I on my rewatch, I actually was like, ooh, let me watch these Terry scenes again, because there was something there I wanted to go back for.
Yeah. And since we're like shouting out performances, I do want to shout out, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later, but I love Liz and Cam together. I've always, like, everybody knows I'm not a Liz fan, but I know, shocking. But like the mother-son relationship between Liz and Cam, the way that Becky and William perform it and play it, like, they even like look like mother and son. And there was even like the way their outfits almost coordinated when they were at Kelly's. I just thought it was really great. I love seeing them work together. I love the like actual concern. Like I could see just like William coming into the set and Becky like doting on him. They just like really feel like mother and son to me. And so anytime they have a scene together, I really, really do enjoy it. And I think that just speaks to William is so like tapped on set, you know what I mean? Like people are like, he needs a love interest, he needs this. And I'm like, yeah, he's like one of those characters you want to see in different places, but he's recurring and he's like a little rock star, you know what I'm saying? But William is like, I'm a musician slash actor, don't forget the actor. And I really just appreciate that from him. And we'll take whatever he can give us because I've really enjoyed his performances.
Yeah. So, I mean, that actually kind of segues to our next segment of what is working. Sandra, what is working for you?
Same.
I just looked at my notes and I was like, Sandra, you didn't write anything down.
I didn't either.
Like, I almost want to say pass. If I'll be quite honest, but I'll stretch myself a little bit. I like how good everyone else is in scenes with Nicholas.
And we're talking about the character, right? Not
Yes. Yes. I mean, not Nicholas Chavez. That's
Not
obviously.
Nicholas Chavez.
yeah,
He's whatever. He remains working.
Right.
Not always his character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This was hard. I mean, I liked Alexis this week. I like having her around as a character. I didn't like all that she was doing. Like, I really couldn't again deal with Alexis and Gregory.
Hated it.
But I liked I just like the Cassadine ecosystem, and even when there's like not a lot going on there and they're kind of backburnered, everyone's pulling their weight except for one person. And I also, there was the Alexis reaction to the ick baby, and then there was also just the lecturing him on what a terrible father he is, and that really worked for me. I needed that. Just like the, wait a second, you have a son, though. What about your son? And just because he's an adult doesn't mean that you're not done. Like, she's just like, he's your kid. Like, look at my relationship with Sam, and I'm still her mom. Like, what are you doing here? You can't just replace Spencer with the ick baby. And then I appreciated Victor telling him how stupid he is. He was just like, you know what? Esme is cunning, da-da-da-da-da, all these things, and you are not. This child who you got pregnant is way smarter than you. So why don't you stop with your plans? Because your plans are not planning. And I'm just like, let's just give up. When he was like, let's just cut our losses, I was like, it also just makes me feel like Victor is going to be undermining and betraying Nicholas in a very big way soon, because he's just like, why am I even trying to work with this? I just need to get rid of this heir and focus on the next. So,
yeah.
And there's going to be a spare.
And there is going to be a spare. So that's
fair.
The inevitable downfall of Marcellus Casaloma is working for me. That's what I got. I'm usually so positive, but that's what I got.
Marcellus Casaloma. Sorry. Yeah, tickling me this week.
I have already said everything that's working for me.
Tracy is saying pass.
I'd like to get to the things that are not working for me, so go ahead.
Hey, that's usually my role. I was like more excited about what's not working than what is working. I will just reiterate that as much as I love Portia being the mama, I loved Trina standing up to her mama the most. That was great, standing by her man. She's like, I understand how you feel, but Spencer's my friend, not your friend. Meaning, like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, and you're just going to have to deal. I loved it. I think it's going to add a whole interesting dynamic to the relationship, especially as we are waiting for the truth about who's the daddy to come out. So just looking forward to more scenes with them kind of loving each other, but butting heads over who Trina spends her time with.
Yeah, and like I was like, Portia, you're laying it on pretty thick. When you got this whole other thing that's about to drop, and you know that it could at any moment. So like,
I will also say something I love about, I mean, I actually have a different perspective of that scene. I didn't particularly love it, but what I do love is that like there are fantastical things that happen in the world of soaps, and then there are like very relatable things that happen. So like when we see Portia telling Trina not to be with Spencer, everybody's like, "Oh girl, you already know that means she wants to be with him more." Because
Right.
that's just like such a relatable thing. Like this, everyone knows that when your mama tell you not to be with him, Portia's like he's a two-time felon. Like I
Damn,
was
the
like,
one time he was
girl,
a felon, it was to protect your daughter, but oh, bygones, I guess.
no, I'm not even with that. But like,
Right.
I love Trina being like, and
I,
my man is a felon, and I must stand beside her.
your point is.
He also about to be a single daddy, and I love him.
Does she know that yet? Did he tell her that plan yet? No.
Who
You
knows what happens in
yeah.
their text?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's true. Um, is that what's not working for you?
Oh no, please, you go ahead with yours. I was just
Okay, what did not work? I mean, yes, we love the reaction that Alexis gave to finding out that Nicholas is the father of Esme's baby. What I did not like was the fact that we got to see Alexis's reaction and we did not get to see Laura's reaction. We saw Laura's face drop, but then when Nicholas was talking to Alexis, he says, "You know, cut me some slack. I already heard it from my mom." I'm like, "What? You mean Laura cursed you out and we didn't get to see it?" Because they have been slowly building up to Laura finding out for a couple of weeks now. And, you know, and then having her chase after the truth. And then when she gets the truth, we don't get to see her slap the taste out of Nicholas's mouth. That is so upsetting. I really wanted to see that. And we know that Laura would have given, like Jeannie Francis would have given the performance of her lifetime. And we missed it. They cut it out. That did not work for me at all. That pissed me off a lot.
I could have done with a whole week of Laura reacting.
Right.
that's hilarious. Um, so the thing that's not working for me is the way that the writers are like aging and maturing the young adult set, but I don't feel like they're doing enough for Trina. So I think that Trina is perfect. I think that Tatiana is perfect. I do not want anyone to like come for me and pretend I'm saying that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that the writing, so like I think about I have like these little notes. So for this week, we saw, Cam as a single daddy. And he also like, I think the scene with Liz was almost like the passing of the torch. So like, we've seen Liz and Cam at Kelly's together, but it just felt different. Like he is picking up shifts, he's the manager, and this is like a job that Liz used to have. So like she is showing up because her son is too busy to like talk to her to come to his job and talk to him. Like that is like the adultification of Cam. Obviously, we don't love the things that they're doing with Spencer. I do not love this idea of him trying to like have this like take his like sibling on. But like even Alexis like named, he was like, I know how to take care of my own. Alexis like, oh, okay, you're growing up. We're seeing the same thing with Josh. Like she didn't tell Sunny or Carly that she was gonna go to the police station. She went, and on her way, she called Diane. Like we're seeing them push it along. And then the way I would have just loved for a more almost adult way of Trina talking to Portia about Spencer. Like it's not only that he's my friend, not yours. They should bring it in. Like the reason that Trina is at their house is because there's a serial killer. Trina has a dorm. Trina doesn't really live there, right? Say that. Um, because of Curtis, like she doesn't work at the gallery. So we used to see Trina being like a boss at the gallery and like running things. And right now, all we really do is see her like with like at home or in a story with Spencer, which I love. I think that they always should spend more time together, but I just don't feel like they are giving her the kind of adult story at the pace that they're doing the other young adults. And I feel like that's not that's the writing, because it's clear. I mean, obviously Tabiana is ready and can handle it and has talked about wanting that, but I just didn't feel like that's what was happening this week. Hopefully that's just this week. Hopefully like this is just, everybody, I love the character of Trina and I'm like very protective of her. So when I see her not being treated right, I'm like, hold up, get it together and get my girl together. Um, I also really hated the softening language around Esme that they had Trina doing,
Mm.
where she was like, I mean, it's so clear that they have Esme on this path of redemption. And even like this idea that if Trina or Cam wanted like revenge against Esme, that was a bad thing. It's not. Look what she's done to them. And so like for her to be like, let me see if I can find it, where she was like, she looked so pathetic. She looked like it was this like almost really passive language about Esme that then like Curtis and Portia had to like follow up and be like, actually, she's done these things. And it almost I do love Trina defending Spencer to Portia. Like that's part of one of my favorite tropes. Is like that's my man. I'm gonna stick beside him. But to have her doing it while also having her kind of like soften towards Esme, I'm like, I would have preferred for those to be like completely separate conversations, because I hate that they're using Trina to soften language towards Esme. So that's what I didn't like this week.
I kind of agree because it feels like like, well, at least Curtis and Portia are treating her like she's a child.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, so if you look at the difference between how Carly talks to Joss about Jax and their relationship, and then how Portia talks to Trina about her friendship, even it's not even as much of a relationship as Jax is, but it's like Carly talks to her like, okay, so what do you feel? How do you feel? And I'm just going to let you know that about this and this, but she's not saying no. Even though Carly doesn't necessarily approve of what's happening, she's not telling her no or trying to talk Joss out of her own feelings and doing what she wants to do. Whereas it seems like Portia and Curtis are way overprotective of Trina. And so yeah, and even the same well, Cameron and Spencer, obviously they aren't parented the same way as the girls are either. So all three of the other young adults aren't treated like teens, whereas Trina is treated like a teen. So yeah, agree.
Yeah, and I think to your point, and then I would love to hear what you think too, Sandra, is like I think that it's also because like it made sense completely them like doting on her and like being all over her when she was on trial. And some of that stuff is like followed through. But I do think us not seeing Trina at the gallery is like a regression. And I think that some of the things that I'm like worried about and some of the things that I don't like what they're writing for her would be balanced if we saw her like be kind of the boss that we know she is. Because like we know that Trina's in charge. We know that Trina is smart. We know that this is the same girl who went to Ava and talked herself into a job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that we need to see her there. Like he got her this internship at the Chuck, and we've never even seen the Chuck. And so yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear what you think, Sandra.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just really didn't. My thing that I didn't like this week was the writing for both Spencer and Trina. I don't like the direction of this storyline. If this is the direction that they continue to take it, it's like, y'all, I was on board for like 2 weeks and I was like, okay, we're going somewhere. We're going in the right direction. And then I'm like, what is this? This is jumping the shark. This is not what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. It's not always about getting what you want. I like the slow burn. I'm okay with it continuing to move slow, but not like including a custody fight for the ick baby. That's not, I don't want that. I don't want, like, we already did this story with Michael and Sunny, which, you know, was one of the most interesting things to ever happen to Michael.
Yes.
And Spencer doesn't need that to be
Spencer's
interesting.
interesting. Spencer's already interesting.
Spencer's been interesting his whole life. He was able to make that transition into adulthood and still be interesting, unlike Michael. It is what it is. So I really like started to feel this pit of dread when Spencer went to talk to Esme and said that maybe I am the father. Like, we know that he's not, but is this the way? I don't think so. So what I really want is for this to be like a red herring and for it to like go off the rails and for Diane to be like, sir, you're like not even, you're gonna be 20 like next week. Nobody's gonna give you a baby. Now stop it.
Right.
Like, you're not this kid's father. You are not the father, first of all.
Isn't it that though that, or this is what we determined with Sunny, that if they do Sunny and Morgan, that if they do a DNA test, like it could come up looking as if Spencer's the dad or something.
No, that's not how DNA tests work. I mean, I guess it could, but DNA it's like it there's you can tell the difference between the relationships between people based on the DNA.
I was just rewatching that story, and so I remember they had to like do the DNA test with like Carly or something. Do you remember this? Like it was like this, and I was confused because they were like, because Sunny was in jail, and so they didn't want to do like Morgan and Sunny's DNA because it might have been too similar to know who was Avery's dad or something. I was so confused. I watched it like yesterday. I was like, what the hell is this?
I don't think that's I mean, I'm not a scientist, but usually DNA tests indicate like the kind of relationship.
That's what I thought too. Okay, I'm not dumb. Great.
So
just needed a little science break in the show, y'all. Sorry about that.
They would be able to tell. I mean, there are a lot more sophisticated DNA tests than like necklaces or having bald heads out there. I don't know if we're gonna, you know, like are they gonna bust out their Cassadine rings? Like, how are we? The baby's gonna be born with one.
Little on the pinky.
And like Trina does not need to be a 20-year-old stepmom.
No.
This is like even a story that I could tolerate like next year, right? But like I'm like, they haven't even like done any couple things.
Right.
You don't need a baby. Why does everyone have to have a baby to get together?
Because Chris and Dan don't have range.
Like even Chalin this week.
Oh my God.
Like
with Wiley, yeah.
People don't need a child that's not even theirs to get together. People don't need to steal other people's children to get horny.
Please, Sandra. Please. I can't.
I don't want to have to say things like this. It's just it's apparently something that needs to be said. So that assumption is not working for me.
Excellent. Tanya, you have to consistently tell us what's not working for you because we know one of them, but we need to hear it.
Oh, Cody. Why was he on all week? Why? You know what? And I can't really criticize his performance this week because I just refused to watch it and fast forwarded it through it. But he was on way too much. And now trying to put him with Sasha? Ew. No. Can we leave Sasha alone? Why do we have to put her with struggle folks now?
She about to be struggle folks.
Right. She's about to
Thanks
be
to Gladys.
right. She's about to be broke. Like, yeah, why does she always gotta struggle? Let her be happy. Let her chill out. Let her grieve. Don't put her with a man that's not worth her time, her energy, her space, her thoughts, her no. Go away. Go away, Cody.
And it looks like they're playing with putting Cody with Brooklyn too. Like inserting, like making it like a square between Chase, Brooklyn, Sasha, and Cody. Nobody needs this.
No one
Nobody deserves it. Literally no one.
No one.
But certainly not the two women in this square.
Especially not me. I don't deserve this.
Right.
Thank you for thinking of me.
Chase deserves a better rival too.
Thank you for thinking of me like my name was Nina. I just wanted to be ready.
Hey.
That was just me. That was me segueing into talking about how much I hated Nina. Sorry, it didn't fit in what was working and not working. So I just had to have a conversation about it.
Okay, I was just but if we're talking about hot takes, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. What the fuck, Nina? All throughout, just like, what the fuck, Nina? It was just like prominently. I could screenshot it and show you, but it was just like, it's crazy. All week. What the fuck? Why?
I guess I can say something that is not working for me is this like making this a Carly Nina rivalry. Because it always goes back to, well, Carly did this and Nina did that. I actually don't care. Here's the deal. Carly is a character. I was like thinking about this, that I've been watching GH for 20 years. Y'all have actually been watching for longer than me, but this year will be my 20th year. I've known, loved, forgiven, rode with Carly for 20 years. So I'm always gonna care about her, what she does, and forgive her before I will some character who I don't like, who was just developed. So like, it's not this whole like, well, you like Carly, so didn't like. It's not a tit for tat. Carly was wrong. I said she was wrong. I said she should have told Willow a long time ago, and I said Nina should fuck off. Like, that's not gonna change. Carly did not make Nina do the things that Nina did this week. And like, if Nina was supposed to be like a person who was like unhinged and all over the place, like what they are showing me she is, I actually wouldn't be so annoyed. But because they like continue to like make her the victim, and oh, she's like, this is the way the show is placing her. Not that there's something mentally like not clicking, because that's true. Like, there is something wrong here. How can you go to somebody's house in the middle of the night and like demand that they tell you their healthcare decisions? That doesn't make sense. The fact that like they literally got Willow stuff and then Sunny was just, I mean, they're just like the Real Housewives. Sunny and Nina. All they do is gossip. And Sunny's like, what? What do you mean? I get to read this?
No, you don't.
My favorite was when they were like first finding out about Willow, and both of them like announcing like, I don't care about ethics or right and wrong anymore. This is not news to anyone, y'all. Why are you declaring this as if this is something different for either of you? And I'm not even just talking about the Nixon Falls of it all. I'm talking about the entire span of both of your characters.
Just Sunny take it upon himself to call Brick and tell Brick about Willow's diagnosis, and then taking it upon himself to talk to Jocelyn about Willow's diagnosis. I mean, like,
everyone but Dante.
Right.
Who is Michael's brother?
it's actually, it was like so weird, like for him to even, it's so distracting to like, if Christina's gonna be in town, it's distracting when she's not part of stories like this.
Right.
Because like Michael had made mention, like, oh yeah, something about my sisters. So him and Christina are like, they're still close as far as that we know. Like Christina was like disappointed when he didn't come to dinner with Sunny. So like for her to still be in town, we have known these kids, they've grown up together, Molly too. Molly's at the hospital. Like it's just like distracting.
Yeah, I mean, like Michael, Christina, and Molly were like road dogs. They were like a little gang of teens running around town. And so for them to not be as close now, like in the car, Jocelyn with Dex, Jocelyn was like, Michael's my best friend. He's my best friend. And I was like, yeah, but the best friends in that family was really Michael and Christina because they grew up together. And so that's what I kept thinking about, even though, yes, validating for Joss to have Michael be, or because that's the closest sibling to her. But the two real close siblings was Christina and Michael.
Yeah, it was just like so like Sunny calling up Jocelyn who don't like you to be like, well, I'm making hope. What are you talking about? It was just like even when they gave Sunny the moment where he was like getting in the car, like I'm on my way, like just it was all
Yeah, that was so random. I was like, we don't need to see you get in your car.
Who filmed that? It looked like it was filmed on someone's iPhone. It looked like cut from one of Mo's reels that he makes full Evan Hoffer film.
Was that a brand placement? Did we see the brand and make of the car? Because that's the only reason why I see that happening.
I don't think so.
Okay. I think it was just
shit. In the moment.
Well, we don't have money for a set, so we're gonna do this in the parking lot. No lighting. I could have followed you with my ring light. Get me a solar battery, and it pops right out.
Your light is looking really good, by the way.
It costs $50. That's it. What? I got it on a gift card.
The $45.89 one, or $49.89.
But it was even like, so they like get her diagnosis, and then like was Nina like drinking water? Like she was just like casually like putting together a timeline. Like she might as well have put up like some butcher paper and they like wrote it out. Like, okay, so she got pregnant on this day. She probably was ovulating. Like it was just ridiculous.
How did they know that? Because I don't think the memo had all that information. So they really must have combed through her medical records.
It was just like they were Googling, like, what is going on here? Like, and then Sunny goes, like, whatever. Like she starts going off about Michael.
Right.
Like, well, we know Michael's selfish. And I'm like, Sunny, you let her talk about your son this way?
He did try to slow her down a little bit. He's like, let's like the fighting needs to end. That's what he told her. But she apparently it flew in one ear and out the other for her because she was like, I'm going straight to Michael and causing some mess now.
Sunny, the fighting needs to end.
Right.
And what she heard was, I need to go fight your son.
Right.
And it's not like she was just like, oh, your son's selfish because he didn't come to Thanksgiving dinner or something, like something really petty. It was like, I think that your son held this dying woman hostage to be the incubator for his baby. That is something that he would do. And I'm like, now, I don't fuck with Michael, but I don't think that that's something he would do.
And then
I'm not Sunny's father. I am Spencer's father, but I'm not Michael's father. So I couldn't even say that about him, and I don't fuck with him.
But you know who would do that? Nicholas. And she doesn't even know. She doesn't even know. She's accusing the wrong man of keeping a woman hostage as an incubator.
Like,
So
yeah.
it was just, and then she like shows up to their house and like demands to know something because of Wiley. And again, I actually hate the storyline. I hate the direction of it. I'm like, who at Right to Life wrote this bullshit? Like, I hate the storyline. And I still am like, you don't go to somebody about their healthcare decisions. Like, you actually don't get to do that. And like make assumptions and and it was, I think, one of the wildest things. And I try to stay off like Twitter, like I will only see certain things like every once in a while. And so something I like popped up in my For You and I was like, oh, this is not for me, was somebody being like, Nina is right. Willow is selfish about. I'm like, no, please, this is not for me. Don't ever show me anything like this again. Like,
But wouldn't they be mad if she chose to have chemotherapy and risk the safety of the unborn baby? Isn't that something they would be mad at too?
I
Like, because
think
they
the whole
don't care
story is
about,
stupid.
yeah, they don't care about kids that are alive. They only care about unborn kids because otherwise we would have a lot more adoptions than we do. So it's really
I'm just
crazy.
saying that, like, in general, in a way that is like, in the point
Yeah.
of history that we are in, for them to be telling this story with the very little range they have, I hate
Yeah.
it. And the way they had Nina reacting was even worse. And so, even when so Carly tells her, what I appreciated about Carly, like I said, I've always said that Carly should have told Willow in the
Mhm.
first place from day one. What I appreciated is that normally Carly would have like schemed to figure out how she wouldn't have been found out and could have
Right.
gotten, this done. She was
Yeah.
like, nah, let me go get this, let me go take these lashings.
Hmm.
And here goes Nina, like, I mean, it was just wild. It was like when she was calling Carly a monster, I'm like, actually, you just like did a flashback to you being a monster. Like,
All the ways that you were, and those weren't even the worst ones.
right. And then it was like, instead of going to get tested right away, the thing that you do is go into this dying woman's room and make it about you.
Right.
I'm supposed to root for this person? Like, these are not things that Carly has done. This is
Mm-mm.
stuff that Nina has done to make her character completely unlikable. And
Mhm.
I hate it.
And I
And
think what's probably going to happen is Willow's not going to be too mad at Carly.
well, I think I'm wondering. I mean, this is like all speculation. I'm wondering if she's gonna pull a next to kin thing,
Uh-huh.
because it's already like they're trying to rip off the Alexis and Sam stuff, but they've done it so poorly. So I don't know if it's gonna be like a next of kin thing. I don't know if it's gonna be. Um, I'm also thinking like I
Maybe
don't
she's
know.
gonna Britney Spears Willow too.
Probably. I hope that Willow uses her dying breath to tell Nina to fuck off. I mean, that's just really where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
But
Sounds like she
yeah,
is. And
but I
then
love
Michael,
it.
yeah, Michael's going to be like, well, I let her do the transplant because. And then Willow's going to be like, I hate you. I hate you. That would be awesome. So, are you,
I would love it.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love it.
Uh,
Um, Before
yeah.
we move, I was gonna move us to the panel, but is there anything else in this section y'all wanted to talk about?
Um,
Oh, huh. So there was like all of the networks and the shows do like these panels for the winter. I actually forgot what it's called, but it's TCA panel. And so this year they had Jenny Francis, Becky Hertz, Tabiana Ali, Christina Wagner, Maurice Bernard, and Nicholas Chavez like go and represent the show. And I thought that was really cute because I was like, oh, look at this. It's like a really great mix of like the past, the present, and the future of the show. Um, and I really loved that they had specifically like Tabiana and Nicholas like representing from that set. And so they talked about a few things I wanted to highlight. So there's three things. So the first being about Jeannie Francis talking about Luke and Laura. The second being with the writers and the executive director talking about how they look at social media. And then they also talked about Sprina Slow Burn. So I just want to go through one by one to hear. So basically, they asked Jeannie Francis about Luke and Laura, and she was just like, "I'm done defending that shit. Like, I'm done. I've had enough." And I thought that was amazing. I really enjoy when we can take stories that were not good back in the day, because that's just quote just how soaps were, and like relitigate them and be like, that wasn't good. But would love to hear like, what do y'all think about G.D. Francis in that response?
Um, always let Jeannie talk to the media, uncensored, unfiltered. I always want to hear it. Because you know who's gonna say what the fuck she means? Jeannie Francis. She's
That's
like,
right.
what's up, Laura? Okay. I am this show.
And
Not that other man, that man. Guess who's still here? Me. And I also am just like, leave this woman alone. Like, she said what she said. So can we stop asking her about it actually? Can we just like take this quote and like make it and put it on a gold plaque and just like hold it up every time someone asks about this story? Because I also am just like, I'm glad she got to say it plain. And I also am like, okay, like why does she always have to be the one to answer for it? I'd love for Anthony Geary to get grilled about it.
mm,
But he's off in Amsterdam. So I'm glad that I'm glad she got to say what she said. And I'm also just like, there's plenty of other things you could ask Jeannie about. But this is also like, people know Luke and Laura. I just wish that like maybe it would be interesting to hear some like reflections from the writers or from Frank about Luke and Laura, and then how are we actually writing our characters now, and is it that much more empowering?
Bloop. That was a mic drop. What do you think,
Yeah,
Tanya?
it's weird. I think we're in a weird place in time right now where everyone's kind of looking back on past media and just kind of reflecting about how, awful some of the stuff that was really popular was. Like how like some jokes were super funny back in the day, but now they're like, cringe, yuck. And I think it is a little bit unfair to really place that burden on the actors that were just doing their job to the best of their ability. So I'm glad that
She was a minor
yeah,
too
he's
when
like
it
17.
happened.
Right, just beginning. Yeah, so to constantly be reaming her about it, I mean, they really should be actually asking the writers these questions and the producers and all of that. So yeah, I agree. And then thinking about, how they can do better and be better with the material. So yeah, power to Jeannie for just being frank and stop asking me. We should stop asking her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really the long and short of it. So there was a little bit of a kerfuffle. I'm going to read both quotes. So Chris, one of the co-head writers, they asked him about tweets specifically. He said he will check Twitter to see reactions to episodes he feels strongly about, but he thinks that Twitter isn't entirely representative of the entire GH audience. And then Frank said, I think social media is a lot of hammers looking for nails, but it's important to weed out some constructive criticism. If there are people saying something that shines a light on something we are confused about, we might take it with a grain of salt. What do you think about their views on social media? They seem to be especially talking about Twitter.
I mean, I don't care what people say about the show on social media, so I can't imagine that they would.
Yeah.
And Twitter is such a trash dump now. I mean, at the same time, I mean, there was people like I'm a little bit still on Twitter, and there's some actually legitimate people that have legitimate critiques and legitimate opinions still on there. So I mean, you take it with a grain of salt, but I think by now people know what's a troll and what's not a troll, right? And so some of those opinions, some of those things, stuff that's shared on Twitter should be taken seriously a little bit. Especially like, I think I talked about it on Twitter. Maybe I talked about it more here, but discussions on race in the show should be taken seriously. Or misogyny or anything like that. But, like trolls saying I hate Joss because she's Carly's Trump or daughter or whatever. I mean, you take those things with a grain of salt, but there's some serious stuff that is talked about on social media that they should really pay attention to as well. They may decide not to do anything about it, which clearly that's the case in some areas, but listening to, I mean, Twitter is just the medium of which people express themselves, same as Facebook and same as Instagram. So I wouldn't dismiss it so cavalierly, but also by this time Twitter's been around long enough for us to know what real opinions are and what are trolls being trolly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that is what they're saying that they're doing.
Okay.
Are they doing it? I'm the one who's being cavalier and saying like I actually don't care about anything that's on there. And I do feel like similarly to what they're saying they're doing. Now, if that's what they're actually doing, that is also the thing that they should say. like they should say we're listening, and also like this is not the only way that they make their decisions, or should it be? Like at the end of the day, it's their job to write the story. And feedback's important, but like I feel like there's this narrative on social media that because the other piece around social media, around Twitter, is that you can connect with all these different people, but it's very easy to forget the internet is very big. And so like your community on Twitter is like a drop in the bucket of like all the things that are happening in the world. And so like it can feel like this is so big and important and like salient. There's a lot of stuff to sift through, and I feel like sometimes we can get like a little myopic, like a little like the conversation that is happening here is like more impactful than it actually is.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, I stopped using soap Twitter. Like we actually, as Sunday Shift, really tweet. Like sometimes I'll get into like a frenzy of retweeting or whatever, but for the most part, like we don't take part in any conversations. And like I was like struggling with how to talk about this or what to say about this or if I should say anything. But something I think that for us specifically is that we are like I think about I was like actually having this conversation with someone who said, and we were DMing about it, and she's like, she was not part of she was not watching soaps when the message board community was up. And so there are people who are like, you actually couldn't have handled the message boards if you can't handle soap Twitter. And I was like, well, I think the message boards are really different. Because if I'm Sam fan 123 and I'm fighting with Liz fan 345, that's really different than like Tracy, who comes on here and like a little bit about me, or Tanya, who people know works for the city of Oakland. like sharing something and then people leveraging that information because they don't like our opinion about a character or a couple. And so um, I will say that I saw that happen one time and I said, nope, I'm actually gonna like pull the plug on um, being a part of like and like really like in jest being a part of social media conversations. And I think that's unfortunate because I know that there were, you know, not to toot our own horn, but we have like really important conversations and we elevated important conversations. We would have spaces about misogyny and people were following along with that and folks like tweeted that out. And after that, there were two network execs that followed Sunday Shift on
Mhm.
Twitter. Um, I do think that the conversation that we had a conversation on Twitter, specific, like with some Anna fans about it was Jen, M, and Finch, and we were talking about the situation where Nina had talked about Bobby in like when they had their confrontation. And the
Mhm.
way we talked about it wasn't like stands. It wasn't like, I hate Nina, I can't believe she said it. It was, I cannot believe that the writers had Nina bring up Bobby's past as a sex worker when that happened when she was underage.
Mhm.
And then like people then like took it and was like, oh, y'all just don't like Nina. And I'm like, no, that's not the point. It was fine for her to talk about her affairs and all these things that happened when she was an adult, but actually this is something that they should like fix when they talk about Bobby because like this is actually a really like problematic thing that happened. And then we saw in the like Jacksonville story, Carly essentially saying that sex work was work.
Mhm.
And I think that that made a difference. I do think that that like changed the conversation and made an impact. The problem with I think Twitter specifically is that it is not even necessarily the problem, but the thing about Twitter specifically that's different from like Facebook or Instagram is that you build communities that are able to have conversations and then have like shared agendas. So like even when you say something like agenda shipping, right? I specifically remember when Sona was happening, and Mo was getting like dragged essentially on Twitter because, or not Twitter, but on Instagram because nobody hated or nobody liked Sona. People were like, "What is this?" And so he came to Twitter and was like uplifting like trolls and was
Mhm.
like people with like 10 account or 10 followers or 15 followers who were then like highlighted as like Carson fans. I'm not a Carson fan, but like highlighted as like Carson fans. And it made it seem as if like Sona was like more popular than it was because there were people who were agenda shipping it. I've been a part of agenda ship stuff, so it's not judgment, it's just what it is. And so if the if people were like looking at this just on Twitter, it would make it seem like everybody hated Carly, nobody wanted her on screen. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is what it would look like if you would have only been looking at Twitter. Because you're able to come together as fandoms to have conversations in a way that people aren't able to come together in the same ways on other forms of social media. So I think that the idea about Twitter, especially, is that it should be taken with like this different grain of salt because than other social medias because it's not as organic as like just having like leaving a comment and going away. Like Twitter is built on this idea of likes and follows and you know, like I was like excited when we got our follower count up. So this is not judgment, right? But it is that it is built on that. And so if like the common narrative on Twitter is something, it's easier to get more people to say it because that means I get more likes as opposed to like saying my opinion, which might be more nuanced, but it's not the thing that gets the likes. So anyway, that was a very long, drawn out way of talking about social media. Sorry that I got on my tangent.
Yeah, I mean, it's you have to analyze the data based on the way that you're getting the data and the way that the function of the tool that you're using. And Twitter is not authenticity. That's not what it thrives on. It thrives on reactions, being incredibly reactive and being reactive as quickly as possible in a controversial way. And also it um it's set up for people to pile on other people and to drown out actually like a complex opinions and stances. So it's also just like a group dynamics thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
don't know. I just like, I find that it's just no, I won't even say anything else about Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's, in general, social media is like interesting. I was on like soap Facebook, which is typically, it is what it is, but I was able to like, it was like one thread that I was like having a decent conversation on. And then people like, I guess somebody didn't like the thread. And so they just started like another post. And so there's not a way to like have a really good back and forth because that's not the way the platform is set up. Um, yeah, it was just like it was like really interesting to be on this other platform talking about the show because it's not designed for you to have like mass conversation. It's designed for you to say a thing and be out. And it's also like not really even designed for likes. It's just, I don't know, it was weird. Anyway, next thing I was gonna ask about was the slow burn of Sprina. So let me read what Tabiana specifically said. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what she said and then just like how important it was that she was like on, or like if well, I thought it was important that she was like chosen as like the person to represent and like what that means for the show. So they really asked her about whether or not it was like fan favorite Trina will have a kiss. Like that was the way it was framed. And so Tabiana expressed, I will say, as someone who is a big romance fan, the slow burn I think is necessary. There's something about tension that draws in the audience. I think that's also a reason why we're bringing in more audience because of the tension and because of the pacing of it, especially in the day and age where relationships happen so quickly. She also added, it's really nice to see two people, two young people, and two interracial people that love each other try to get closer with one another and also try to jump over the barriers that are created, not only just from them, but from their environment. And they learn how to work through it together. I really do hope that I do love that what I've heard from her and Nicholas is this idea that Sprita should be getting over barriers together. They're like, stop separating us. Like we should be scene partners. Let us be scene partners. And I do really appreciate that. What do y'all think about what she said and what it means that she's on the panel?
Yeah, that last part especially, like, overcome together. And I do appreciate the defense of the slow burn. Like, I don't like how they introduced Taviana. And I obviously hated that whole storyline. So did all of us. And it happened. You know, we can't take it back. We don't get those months of our lives back, unfortunately. And so for me, it's more important that they do Sprina correctly and hit all the notes of the slow burn than try to like get them together quickly just to have them together.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, like, generally speaking, GH has been on this. Usually the longer it takes for a couple to get together, the longer they are together.
Right.
The more investment, the more build up. Sorry, Chillin.
I know. Yeah.
But let's be real, there wasn't the kind of investment in Chillin that there has been with Sprina either.
Right.
like it doesn't have the same kind of popularity or the same kind of like character, like the character, like both the couple and the characters don't carry the same kind of like weight. So yeah, I think it's a moving slowly is investment, and they need to be very they need to be more discerning about how they're using that investment.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I don't mind the slow burn. I don't like the teasing. You know, I'm hoping they're not going to do too many more scenes where they're just like almost there and then they don't. Because then that will just piss me off. I think if you're just gonna have, I mean, if you're gonna have them just getting to know one another, really being close and dealing with things together, that's fine. And then have the actual kiss be a surprise, that would probably be interesting. But to have it, to constantly tease us about it and then not giving us anything, that would just make me mad. So, yeah.
You're probably gonna be mad.
I think it's really bad. There's something in her quote. There's something in her quote that made me wonder if they're going to start telling more of a story around race, because they have not up until now. And as
Okay.
a matter of fact, they tell this really interesting. The way they like couch it is around privilege, and it's like, I mean, shout out to again our friend Tara. Your mama lives in a clanship.
Right.
Like she's a doctor, like her and Curtis, like like Curtis owns a club. Um,
You said clanching?
yes, that's what she calls Jackson's old house. And then who is more privileged than double heiress Joss? You know what I'm saying? And that's like your BFF, and like privilege never came up in like their relation and their friendship. It never
Right.
actually came up in a real way between Joss and Cam. When like they actually have more income inequality between them.
Mhm.
And so they've really tried to couch any conversation about race with that couple in this idea of privilege. And so I wonder if they're going to start telling more of a race story for Sabrina.
I hope
That
so.
worries me because I don't think they have um, the range, but it also worries me that they wouldn't.
Yeah. Sometimes just focusing on privilege, that's a cop out in of itself. Um
Yeah, it's like if they're gonna talk about Spencer's privilege, then like let's like talk about it
Mhm.
and not just like be vague.
Mhm.
Because there is a difference. Even
Yeah,
though Trina has like class privilege, even like the class disparity between them is still large.
right, of course.
I mean,
Um,
we're
and
still Oh, good. Go ahead.
how'd you make that? How the Cassadines make their money? Like, there's all these other things, but I'm also like, they don't have the range for that. So there's part of me that's just like, just keep it vague. But
Mhm.
because the more specific GH gets, the more I feel like they lose the thread.
Yeah.
And I know that I won't be satisfied with whatever direction they choose to take that. Me personally, as someone who is rarely satisfied with how we talk about like race and privilege, I don't know if you all feel the same way.
I do.
I did think there was this other, it might have been, I don't remember who said it at the TCA panel, but they were talking about kind of the both the use of the vets and like how this next year and this like 60th anniversary is also about like handing the torch to the
Mm,
next generation. I don't remember if that was Chris and Dan who said that or who said it, but I also perked up for that because I was like, does this mean like also good things for Sabrina? And that's also why they were the young people, not just like the young adults who are chosen to represent, but like the people who weren't the vets to
Right,
represent.
exactly.
It just felt like a recognition that like not only are they being handed the torch or whatever because they're the hot young couple, but like they are talented, these characters are beloved as a whole of like these characters that are under 50, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it meant a lot for them to be there. And I think that so there had been this conversation about uh there had been this conversation about like what it meant online about what it means to protect Tabiana from like racist trolls and things like that. Now, if you are not a fan of The Flash, I'm so sorry. I want to talk about The Flash for a second. So when The Flash first started, Candace Patton was given this role of Iris West slash Iris West Allen, which is like a beloved comic book role. And she's a Black actress. And so there were people who were really salty that this Black actress got this role. And we know, especially how fanboy Twitter gets, they were atrocious to her. They were very racist, and there wasn't like an outright condemnation of racism in the way that we saw like a Ewan McGregor be like, oh no, I'm messing up the name. Not Ewan McGregor. It's because I'm hungry. I'm feeling after Star Wars. Oh, please help me. Was
It
it?
was
It wasn't.
wasn't it? It was Ewan.
Oh, okay. It was. Never mind. In my mind, I'm thinking of someone else. Please excuse me. Anyway, I'm fading. So, but we saw him like outright condemn racism and be like, nope, this is our character. We love her. That's our girl. Period. And I always wonder like where is like the kind of middle ground with that? Because like what is it to like empower trolls by mentioning them? Because they know like, you know, like what is that? Versus like to actually do what they did for Tabiana, which is to be like, no, this is our girl. Like she's about to like sit on a bench, or not a bench, but a chair, and she's gonna be in the middle of Jeannie Francis, Christina Wagner, and Becky Hertz. Like this is the future of our show. Deal with it. Which is not what they did for Iris on The Flash. They just kind of like let it ride, and then eventually somebody like spoke up and said something about her. Um, I, like I said, admittedly, am off soap Twitter. I have not seen. There was conversation about there being trolls and folks coming after Tabiana. I've seen like a few. I've blocked them. I've reported them. Um, Elon hasn't gotten back to me about whether he's blocked them yet. Um, so like I did not see it. I personally have not seen it as being like overwhelming in the way that it was for like a Candace, and I think that um the fandom so beloves Tabiana in the character of Trina that like if you say something against her, like you will get checked. Like it's not like okay to say um anything against her, and that feels right to me. So I do think that like having her represent the show is another way that the show was like, yes, there are other characters. They could have bought Katie or the girl, Sophia. They could have bought either of them. They could have bought Eden. They could have bought William. They were like, no, we're bringing Tabiana. And I think that that really shows the investment in Trina and the ways that they're willing. And I hope that they are willing to like protect her against any like attacks that she's facing. But I do think that there is something about like celebrating her that like drowns out negativity. Like we do um, Trina Tuesdays on Instagram every Tuesday. Obviously, like Sabrina is beloved in every publication. I saw that Alan Sarafa had given Tabiana the best recast across like all of the soaps, and like for me, that's how I think we should uplift her.
Yeah. Always. I think that is the best I mean, medicine, honestly, is like, at the end of the day, this is a really talented, like, young Black woman who deserves all the flowers. Let's give it to her. And like, if there is as defense is needed, make it happen. And also, like, the I just try to, when I'm defending anyone, before making their victimization a focus, always uplifting why they're so powerful, and that's usually like also why they're being attacked.
I do
And
love
so
that.
I'm not going to yield that to trolls ever and make trolls the focus. And I actually do think it is more the responsibility of like people with power than it is necessarily people on social media, like everyday regular us people like us, to have to do that too. Like, that's one of the reasons why I did like you and coming out with the video and being like, nah, if you're a racist, we don't need you. Bye. That actually has a lot more impact than like me, you know. Like, I'm pretty cool, I'm pretty smart, pretty powerful in my own way. I'm not Ewan McGregor. So
You're my Ewan McGregor.
thank you.
No? Yes.
I'll take it. Absolutely. Gonna compare me to any white cis man. I'll be Ewan McGregor, sure.
Anya, do you have anything to close us out with before we go to hot take?
No, I think you guys said it all. I think it's, I'm really glad that Trina was there and is seen as someone that can bring longevity to the soap going on into the future. I think that's great. So yay.
Yeah. She just was so cute. If you haven't seen the pictures of Tabiana, go to her Twitter or her Instagram. Her little white outfit. All I commented was, I know that's right. That was all I had.
Is the panel online or on video?
I did not see it on video. It might be. I was following along. Look, on Twitter, of someone's Twitter, and I saw like the People magazine pictures, and then Tabiana and they were like Getty images or whatever, and exclusive People images. So she posted them. Her little white outfit. I said, "Girl, I know that's right. You better." She looked amazing.
She looked amazing. Those pictures are great.
Yeah. And it was just, I mean, again, I can't get over how powerful it was to see her be the center of these other women. Because what we know about like how GH specifically has done Black actresses is that people are featured and then forgotten. And I think that this is like, nope, this is our 60th anniversary. This is somebody we choose to feature. She will not be forgotten. And I appreciated that. All right, let's get into some hot takes before Sandra tells us maybe not what we have to look forward to, but what's happening. Oh. We could do carousel or with round robin hot takes. You want to start, Tanya?
For Monday, put Finn is an idiot.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I don't understand why he's not putting 2 and 2 together. That Liz maybe probably wasn't pregnant in the first place.
What a dummy.
And I've never I don't care about, I want Margulis to suffer, but I was like, mind your business, Finn. Why are you sending these cops to Windermere? Like, these two being rivals is not working for me because I hate both of them. Yeah. So anytime either of them does something to the other, I'm just like, what's wrong with you?
Right, but like, I mean, if he's not going to really solve the case, then he should just butt out. Like, The fact that he saw prenatal vitamins at Windermere, knows that Esme's pregnant now, and he didn't figure it out. But yeah, he's like, maybe you should go to Windermere because people could, hide there.
It was his fucking Columbo moment where he was like, no, have you ever thought about checking out Windermere? Fuck off.
Yeah, they thought about it. They checked it out before. But you didn't give them any more conclusive evidence of why they should go to Windermere. Because
He sucks.
Why did we have that instead of those Viva plotting sessions that are apparently happening off screen? I need to see that.
Yeah.
You're meeting with Victor. What do you mean Victor's gonna give you Windermere? I need to see those scenes.
Right.
Like,
we could have seen that. We could have seen more. We could have seen we could have seen a whole bunch.
Yes. And instead I'm watching Victor embarrass Nicholas.
It is nothing but exit writing because they were like, "My God, you're a loser."
That's like every time he's on screen, it just comes out of my mouth. I'm just like, what a loser. Pathetic.
Mine, Martin saying he was a feminist is my villain origin story. Fuck off, Martin. He's like, it was just casually fucking to Esme. I'm a feminist. No.
My feminism does not include Esme.
Never. Never.
If I have to include Esme in my feminism, I quit feminism. And I'm literally like a professional, like career feminist. Yep. And I would quit feminism.
Yep. We're done here. This is where me and feminism part ways.
It was always meant to be.
Did you have one, Sandra?
It was the Viva. I just like slid it right in.
It was silent.
I had what was it? So when Willow had her dream and Nina was taking the children away and she was holding the baby, she said, "How do you like the name Nell?" I cracked up. I was laughing so hard. I was like,
no, I wish that was actually how Nina was all the time, like dream Nina.
Right.
If Nina was like real Nina all the time, I could get down with that. But Cynthia did like peek the plastic baby doll face out, and I was like, no, you're supposed to.
Right.
I know you're not used to holding babies, Nina.
But I just
like you're not supposed to show the camera the fake baby. But at least it wasn't a Subway sandwich. It was at least a baby doll. Right. So,
but it was the level of pettiness that just cracked me up so bad. I was like, that's hella funny.
And Michael still did it better with AJ because that was real life.
Right.
True. Yeah.
Nina saying Spencer's not the only one having a rough time of it was just the embodiment of why I hate that character. You just heard that from Ava that Nicholas got Esme pregnant. You know Spencer was definitely closer to Britt than she was. And he's got a serial killer on his hooks or on his heels. But Spencer's you telling his uncle that he's not the only one having a rough time of it? Okay, Nina.
On that note, actually, I liked Ava's scenes with Nina. I liked Ava in those scenes with Nina because it was very sweet. I mean, it showed the vulnerability of Ava, but also her power. I loved it.
I love scheming Ava, always.
Yeah.
I don't love the Ava and Sunny friendship.
That was funny too.
Like, I was just like, we've gotten a little too familiar. I still need that. I need there to be some tension between them. And I don't like this, like, all of a sudden we're buddies because of Nina. It's like, it feels like,
Hate it.
and I'm not someone who can't, I'm open to enemies being friends. Like, I like that trope on soaps. It doesn't necessarily bother me, but it has to be earned. And I don't feel like it's been earned. I would rather they have like a begrudging like respect or something like that, but I don't like that celebration of taking Windermere from Nicholas actually would have more impact if they weren't trying to force this Sunny Ava friendship. Like, if they had this begrudging respect and then he was like, you know what? I usually fuck with you, but I like that. That would have been funny to me. This was more just like, it's like y'all are frat bros or something celebrating. Like, it was.
I think if he had made it more about the fact that he hates Nicholas and that she's taking something away from him, and that's why he's liking it more than, you know, high five girlfriend type. Because that's the way he responded. It was like, all right, high five girlfriend. Like, if he had done that, it would have been hilarious too. But it was almost as if he was going to do that. Instead, I mean, he could have been like, yeah, Nicholas is an asshole. Take him for what he's worth. You know,
I don't know if there's anything they could have done in the moment to have made it better for me. I just don't like the long-term effects of them trying to force them together. That's why the scene with Ava and Carly was so good, because it was like this begrudging, like, girl, you know I don't like you, but you want this tea, you know I'm not gonna ask you twice. Like that like we respect each other and we deal with each other because of Avery, but we don't really like each other. I think that is why those scenes are impactful to me and why the Sunny thing looks so stupid.
It's like they're just kind of putting him with like whoever is good, whoever will make the character better.
Yeah. Like, I didn't mind him with dying Willow. He was fine.
I did.
I really wanted Wiley to ask BOQ what he was supposed to do with $5. If he would have done that, then he would have been my performer of the week. $5.
That would have been enough. $5. What's that? What
Like,
did
girl,
buy? A banana?
girl, am I rich? I'm rich. I
right?
can't get no eggs with this.
Not nowadays.
You can't even get eggs.
Can't even get eggs now.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't think Alexis and Gregory have any chemistry.
Shocking.
Like,
I don't know if chemistry is the problem. I just hate it.
even just beyond it, just hating it, like I was watching it and I was like, is there something here that I'm missing? And I could never, because I am a chemistry expert, as I have it with everyone. So I know chem when I see it, and I do not see anything. Because here's the other thing is that, like, I mean, I don't know this man. I couldn't pick him up out of a lineup. He just looks like any other old white man to me. But Alexis, I have seen Alexis have chemistry with a lot of people. A lot, including most recently Harmony. But even beyond that, like, I fucking hated Julexis. Like, Julian and Alexis. Especially, like, post, like, him trying to kill her. That really didn't work for me.
Right.
But, like, they had hella chemistry.
Wild chemistry.
Wild chemistry. She had chemistry with Mo. Like, she had chemistry with the Rick. Like, all these people she's had chemistry with. And this, it's like she's talking to her dad.
Alexis has more chemistry with Finn.
It's true.
Yikes.
I have no response because I refuse to think about it.
That's fine. I'm just saying the story's not giving, and it's not like he's a bad actor. They just don't have chemistry. So it's both like story is bad, there's no chemistry. And why? Just a why. Anyway, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Um, I um I'm trying to skip over all my Nina ones. I have too much because I hated her so much. I'm just like, wait, that's my Nina. Oh, when did Chase become Uncle Chase for Wiley? I was like, so he calls Brooklyn Brooklyn, but Chase Uncle Chase? What's been going on? Am I getting my ship?
Oh,
Like
oh,
typo.
Yeah.
I was like, Chillo.
No.
Oh, the real ship.
Stop it. Chillo. Chillo. What are you?
Chillo.
So, like, what's happening? Are you okay?
I could never.
I don't have any more. Sorry. That's it.
Oh, please never apologize. We have hot taked it out. A lot of my hot takes we talked about already. Yeah. I really loved everything about how defiant Carly was. She was like, no, I wasn't gonna tell you. Girl, yeah, you can be mad. I don't you can dislike me. I don't like you either. Go get tested. And then when she when Nina like walked out after her outburst, Carly was like, all right, well, hope that bitch gonna get tested. Like, it was like, I did what I did. And we call that growth.
Is it gross? Or is it just Carlying?
No, Carlying would have been her like trying to scheme to figure out a way to not make it like that she knew about Nina being that girl's mama. Because I also wonder if like I will crack up if Nina presses charges on Carly.
For stealing her DNA?
Still in her DNA. Everybody get a legal test.
You stole her husband, she stole your DNA. What can you do? Surely, like, I mean, obviously GH is not operating within the real legal system, but like we steal like DNA, faces, like all this, our thumbprints, we give them to Apple all the time. Like, people can have your DNA, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, so there was like just like a editing thing where Trina was talking about first of all, Trina being like, Spencer's just going through a lot. I'm like, my girl is down bad. Like it was just like, but she was like, we've been like, it was like they had been texting all night. But then you look at Spencer's phone and there's only one text from Trina. I need better. I want to see lots of texts from Trina. I also
on her end, there was a lot of text. Like you could see on her phone.
right.
And so it was just like, oh, continuity is not their thing.
And for me, with their like fake relationship, they were in the in their To All the Boys era. So I want to see their lock screens. I want to see them booed up on their lock screens. That's what I want. It's a very small request, but I want it. I think that might be all I have. Yeah, I think that's all I have. Oh no, I love how much Portia hates Nicholas. That's all I have.
It's the correct energy. He lost me at the scream mask, basically, is what she said.
So
And
basically, the moment I knew that that man existed, he lost me. Like, I was like, what you know him before that? Well, that's all we have for hot takes. Sandra, what does the week hold for us? The week ahead hold for us.
okay, well, here we go. On Monday, Willow is in disbelief. I'm so sorry, Willow. You've been through enough. Nina remains resolved. Great. Who would have thunk it? Nothing's gonna
Your
stop
life may depend on me. Okay,
Spencer
Nina.
meets with Diane, and for the love of God, Diane, please talk some sense into my child. He makes me so tired. Nicholas briefs Elizabeth, and I hope she is just shady as fuck the whole time. This is what happens when you fuck with crazy, is what she needs to say. And Curtis advises Portia. Portia. Trina taught me all about boundaries. Tuesday, Michael is dismayed. We're about to start another Michael hates, another one of his parents' era. Chase and Sasha head to GH. Alexis and Sam put their heads together. Please follow
Maggie.
and make this a whole storyline. Thank you. Please don't. This is not something that needs to happen off screen. Okay? Sunny comforts Nina. Martin thwarts Victor. This better not be about Esme. This better be about Lucy, or I want to lose my mind.
I think it's probably gonna be Esme. Sorry.
Well, there is gonna be Vanna. Vanna clears the air, or Valentine clears the air with Anna on Wednesday. So that does make me think that it's possible that it's about Lucy. We know from Soap Opera Digest that Vanna is in Paris, and they're going to meet some French boy who's played by Violet's, the actress that plays Violet's brother.
Interesting.
And we're also going to meet one of Valentine's old associates, who is a woman who Anna is like skeptical about. I believe the quote was, and that's all I'll say about that for now. Oh, Anna. Oh, Finola. Also on that day, other things happened too. Not as good, but Heather evokes suspicion. It's about time, because apparently she's just been roaming the streets of Port Charles even before we knew.
Cooking.
She's just been taking her day passes from Darkham and killing people. Nina anxiously awaits news. Ava makes a surprising ally. I want it to be Victor so bad. Michael isn't ready to forgive. And then, of course, Vanna. Thursday, Dex reassures Michael. Joss is sympathetic. She understands.
When Dex texts Joss and Michael was like, "Is that Cameron?" And she's like, "No, somebody else." I was like, "It's y'all man."
Now that is a juicy storyline. GH could never. Sunny's accusation offends Carly. Me? He's probably gonna make it all about him. You did this because please. She did this. because she is a lying liar who lies. Okay. Like,
And that's my girl.
And she was lying long before you came around, Sunny, and she'll be lying long after. Okay. Austin and Liesel hear big news. Portia and Curtis make a request of Marshall. On Friday, Nicholas is shocked by Victor's actions. What do you mean you fucked my ex-wife? That's not part of the spoiler. That's my editorializing, just to be clear. Liz and Finn have a talk with Violet. Liz said, I don't like your dad. I made up a fake pregnancy with someone and like got myself wrapped up in kidnapping a pregnant, basically child.
Right.
Just to get me away from your dad. I'm sorry I can't take you with me. You're stuck with him. Mm-hmm. That's also me editorializing. I don't think that that's what actually is going to happen. Cam gets an unpleasant surprise.
Yikes.
Ooh, stay off Twitter that day. Marshall opens up to Curtis. And Michael unleashes his anger. And that is the week.
Well, interesting. There's Vanna.
There's Vanna.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some surprise Sprita.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Because if there's Sprita, it will be a surprise.
Yeah, it would be. I was like, I guess that is possible. It doesn't say, there are no spoilers that say no surprise, Sabrina.
Thank you for being positive.
I enjoy Nicholas being embarrassed.
Always.
By Victor. That looks like that's gonna happen. I look forward to the Sprina spoiler for next week. That's what there is to look forward to. But there is a Sprina spoiler for the following week. So,
well, here we are. Also, we learned from this panel that we didn't mention there will be a Sonia Eddie tribute, and they are bringing back the Nurses Ball. So I really do hope that they send her off well and with something that is beautiful and as respectful and respected as she clearly was, because people loved her. So R.I.P. Sonia.
Yeah, I think her episode's the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
And then it leads into Nurses Ball in April.
Okay. Well, that's what we got for the week. Again, if you don't, follow us on Instagram. Take part in #TrinaTuesday every Tuesday. Yeah, that's what we got. Bye, y'all.
Bye.